What is up, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, day traders, class swing traders? Hope you guys are doing absolutely fantastic. We got Albert in the house. Good morning to you. Good morning to Anna, Andy, Bill, Brad, GW in the house. Good morning to you. Good morning to Jay, Lauren, Lucian, Michelle's in the house. Good morning to Tim, William, all my people piling in, all my people on YouTube land. Good morning to Fitz, all my lurkers in the background of YouTube. It's okay. I still love you. Hit that like and subscribe button, but a little bit of a gap up. Looked a little better like 15, 20 minutes ago. A little bit. So yeah, we got all the way up to 606. Pretty different looking gap not too long ago, right into actually above a little bit of a resistance. So, in fact, we broke it down. Not great. Again, another day. A little bit of a warning sign. Yesterday, we do have the VPOC that kind of closed a little bit lower than most of the rest of this jumbled mess on the SPY, but we did still kind of close that VPOC right into 603.66, which was one of our supports. We were able to stay above it, and we're just in chop. So depends on where we open right now. And again, we are seeming to be a little bit wild pre-market, decent little sell-off, but so far 604.65 would be some kind of resistance, my first support. 604.37, extremely tight range. Bigger support, 603.66. Bigger resistance would take us up to 605.29. And if that breaks, we could see a crazy day of 607.29. So we shall see. Jerome Powell, we have something that could move us maybe out of this range one way or the other. We'll see where we actually close today. I don't expect actually a lot from Jerome Powell today, as I would expect with all government employees. So I'm guessing. I'm guessing. Not employees. No, let's change that. Like Congress people. Yeah, those people, not like actual people that work. Um, but I do think he probably comes in. I think the market's expecting a quarter cut. I think he comes in. He's been showing that he's been just kind of giving the market what they want. So right now they're looking for a quarter cut. I don't think it's necessary. I don't think he has to do it, but I think he does it anyway. And then in terms of can he say anything that is really drastic or different? He could. There's always the option. I don't think he does. I think he punts it into January and kind of lets the new administration come in. So I don't think much is really happening from today. We'll still react a little bit to it in terms of if he says anything slightly bullish, slightly bearish, the market will move. But ultimately, I think today will be probably a nothing burger. And the question is, can we get out of this big resistance? Can we get out of the uh, little bit of support that we have here? I don't know. I don't know. We'll see what the effect of the market has. Other than that, the other thing that might move the market is the dot plot, but even that today, I don't know. I just don't see a huge move coming in from it, but we'll see. Maybe I'm wrong on that. There's always a chance, and there's always a chance he says something wild. There's always a chance he goes for a bigger cut or no cut, gives the market, and I think that's if we're outside of that realm, that's probably where we start getting those bigger swings that the market isn't really expecting. So we'll see. Tight range though, out of the gate. Also, the Dow setting records for it was the 12th down day for the Dow. We have not seen that happen since 1978, which is actually even crazier. Let me go back to SPY. SPY, we are a couple points off of all-time highs. We got the Qs actually 2 days ago hitting all-time highs, but the Dow, the value names are absolutely crumbling. So probably a decent opportunity, but again, the other thing to just remember for this year is tax harvesting. And if there's companies that kind of get beat up, they might be opportunities to just continue to sell, take those losses. This way, when you lock in your gains from Tesla, the NVIDIAs, the other things that kind of ran, um, it kind of weighs out some of those tax gains just a tad. So that we might see continued pressure on some of those value names until probably the end of the year, and then just again, there are some value names they are getting slightly beat up. probably beginning of the next year. You probably see that kind of rallying. Why do you think the Dow's crumbling? Yeah, that's a good question. So I honestly I think it has to do with just the end of the year type play. That's it. I think it has to do with tax harvesting. The real runners like the Dow's been good, but the real runners where people were making a crazy amount of money is the NVDAs, the Teslas, the to at one point the SMCIs, even AMD's up a lot. All these names, MU's hanging in there, but a lot of these names that have run massive, even Palantirs, things like that. So if you're looking to counteract some of those gains, some of those taxes, you're going to sell some of the losers, right? So this way you have some losses on the books to carry over, all that fun stuff. Therefore, as the year kind of progresses and we start getting closer and closer to the end of the year, some of those people are considering making those moves, and then you got to wait 30 days and kind of jump back in. So I think beginning of next year, that's when you start to look at, okay, well, what has probably underperformed in 2024? What's some good quality names that I could get some positions on? And that's probably where you start to see that rotation start to come in. But I think probably continued pressure until the end of the year for most of them. But yeah, record setting Dow, which is pretty crazy because we're so high up here in the markets. Other than that, Q's gapping down a little bit, still inside days, so really not a huge move, but I would look for resistance somewhere around 530, 586. If we get some kind of retracement up, which I think we do. And then the next support, well, we have almost two just psychological supports other than anything. One would be the low of the day from yesterday. If we start breaking that down, I think that takes us to our next target, which would be the low of this candle from Monday, and that's sitting somewhere around 533.09. If that ends up breaking down, I think the real support on this stock or the Qs would be 530.44. So we'll see what range that is, and if we can start breaking above it, same thing. I'm looking for outside of yesterday's range. So the top of this would be a little resistance, 537.52. Most likely we would probably be able to break that, and then big resistance, 538.74. So just a couple targets on the Qs. Let's check into TLT. TLT, not a great move on TLT. Bomb people still not buying any of this. Still not buying it. Yep, last little support at least was $90.20. We got a little support down here holding us up. 89.93. I would assume, even though this is a gap and go from yesterday, that was more or less inside candle. You have a lot of selling in this gap. You got a decent support. This one probably does get bought up. I don't know how large of a buy this would be, but for a spot we got to start clearing is $90.21, and then you got another resistance at $90.32. If at some point we start to break down 89.92, that's going to add a little additional pressure onto the markets. So that could actually turn into a kind of wild day. All right, we got some tickers that came in as well. If you guys got other names, let me know. TSM, a little bit of a potential double top on Taiwan Semiconductor from yesterday. It is a gap and go into some resistance. We're opening right into a resistance zone, 203.69, and I got one more level right above it, 204.20. We do have MU reporting earnings today, so chips might be a little bit on watch or any semiconductors probably on watch today. See if you're getting any moves, sympathies to what people think MU might be doing. Other than that, bigger target. So if we could get through some of those, next target up 210.31. It is a gap and go, so there's a little bit more bullish sentiment. I would almost think this one opens and this one gaps a little bit more frequently. But I would think you actually get a pullback on this one. I'd see if you could get some kind of entry around 201.06 or even yesterday's VPOC 227. Then maybe the second push into that resistance, we're maybe able to break it out, but at least we have a little bit better risk reward into it just in case it can't. So I would it is a decent gap and go, but we'll see where that one wants to open at the bell. We got MU. They got earnings today. I think they're expecting, I think it's about $14 either way, which would either put us, depending on how this one reports, which would put us at roughly 124 to the high side. And then that would put us at roughly 106 to the downside. No, 96 to the downside. No, that's more like it. 96 to the downside. So we have a potential big move ahead of us. Again, earnings coming out after the bell today, so maybe for today you get that little bit of a run up. I'd probably want to stay more bullish on it than bearish just because you are going to have some excitement, especially following that last report, which did come in pretty good. You beat earnings per share by 5.74. Uh, and they reported 1 point. Let's see if they got a higher bar this time. They reported 1.18, and now you got to report 1.76. It's a little bit of a higher bar on this one. Last time they reported 7.75, and they're expected 8.71. So you do need to see some growth on this one. I might play this one after hours. I probably won't take a position before on that one. Let's see. MU. The good news on this one is you are above. We had a nice breakout of long-term consolidation. We did stumble a little bit, just a lot of sideways chop. We did get a nice gap up. We have an inside day. We're also above some good volume. So on a technical basis, I do still like it bullish. However, the bar is a little bit higher than it was last quarter, and sometimes their earnings could be a little finicky. But um, you're not getting a horrible price. Even if you are moving into 124, there's probably some room after that to like 127.78. I guess if you want to try to play this one through earnings, you're probably going outside of the expected move on some calls and just hoping that you have a good move. But those calls, if they do, could get you a decent little return. So probably some out of the money calls on this one might be okay, but we'll see what happens. We could also trade it after the bell as well. All right, let's see what else we got. NVIDIA. So NVIDIA gapped a little bit, but there are some red flags for me on it. Unless something has changed since the last time I looked at it a few minutes ago. Nope, still not yet. I'm looking for that 134. We were slightly above it at one point. We were at like 134, 13 or 14 when I looked the first time. But I do have a resistance right at looks to me somewhere about 133.92. I got major what should have been support 134. That might be turning into resistance right now. So decent gap and go. Yesterday was a green candle, but it was more of a retest. So I think it was more people taking gains from the short. It has been a little bit weaker. You got a glaring in your face head and shoulders. I'm not sold that we're going higher on Nvidia today. I'm not. I think this is actually a decent spot to look for a short. I stand corrected though. If we start breaking that 134 and we start getting some decent candles to close, then we do have some room up on this one to about 136.34. So I'm gonna hold the Liberty card to switch positions, but right now good resistance. 134 is a spot we really should have never broke down. So biggest concern for me is that this actually turns into a little bit of now new resistance and maybe a spot where some people are like, nah, is this thing gonna break down? Is it not? You almost have your neckline. Where's my pen? Neckline would be somewhere probably about here. And this confirms that we are breaking down. You got one more retest gap. This could just be doing something like this for a bigger move down potentially. We'll see. Nvidia's had a few head and shoulders before, and they negated it and just kept on moving. It's still Nvidia, but there is some weakness in this one. So as much as it's a gap up, I'm curious if some people that might have some calls or shares might be looking for, okay, this is an opportunity for me to start taking some gains. But if we do get some closing above that 134, all right, there's a chance that maybe that was just all kind of bear trap, kind of soon to tell. But I'm a little bit more bearish on Nvidia. I don't know if this gap holds on this one. We got AMAT. Applied Materials, good double bottom. So if you're looking for a swing trade, that might be interesting. You're gonna have to battle through all those moving averages if you are taking it. We got a while for earnings, so not till February 13th. I think you got good risk reward on this one for now. I really want to see. I'd probably throw a stop somewhere around here. This would be my stop. Slightly below that double bottom, plus you're right outside of that volume zone. So that's kind of the zone you'd love to see hold. If this breaks down, you could probably flip your position, and you got really nothing holding you back until probably about 151. So still about $20 to the downside if you want to try this one. Otherwise, from a couple days ago, good consolidation for the last 1, 2, 3, 4, really 5 days. You're starting to get a little bit of a break. You are above pretty much that last bigger VPOC, so maybe we get a pullback. I don't know if it's ready to break today. It does look like a struggle bus, but maybe you could try an entry here, and I would love to see maybe a slightly bigger pullback. Just get some better risk reward. So you're giving yourself $4 on a swing. This way, you do have to still get through that 20, but if you could, you don't need a whole lot more from that point. But decent gap. Let me put this one higher on the list. AMAT. Good old AMAT. DraftKings DKNG. Nice bullish engulfing candle yesterday. Fantastic. Good bounce. Still holding that 200. Maybe we could look for some continuation on this one. Keep in mind, I'm pro DraftKings, so very biased. Otherwise, small little pullback to $40.84. We're right above it now, so 6 cents difference. Maybe one to look for a high wave candle. Bigger resistance on this one would take us up to $42.09. Before that, for today at least, 41.45. If you could break through that, I got 41.87, and then maybe into that resistance zone. That's probably where I'll just be out. 42.09 if we do take it. So maybe not a huge range on it for today, unless something crazy comes in, or let's see, do we have any news? DraftKings 2 days ago is attracting investors' attention, and then we haven't had any more news since. So I guess the attention just went away. But lots of selling, most likely, and yeah, this 42.09 is going to be strong. I would think you're probably right around your 50% or 618 from that down move, which was a whole bunch of down days in a row. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 days in a row. This could be almost a little dead cat bounce. And you probably want to see some more rotations. Yeah, 50% retracement. These aren't to the penny, but this is still giving me 42.14 as some kind of possible spot we got held up. So unless we're going to plan on a V-shaped recovery on DraftKings, that might be a little bit of a challenge, but it does look like it probably continues bullish. How high is the question for today? Tim says Dow stocks have been dragging the index down lately. Yep, Amjack, but all those ones dragging it down, and even Disney kind of got some kind of pop. UNH, I did sell some. I did sell some puts on UNH yesterday. Almost toward the low of the day. I think somewhere around one. Oh, I wish I sold it around one, but I sold it around 480-ish, 479-ish. So pretty close to the low of the day. I sold the 440s that go to, I think it was, I have to look, I think January 17th. Let me log into that broker. Um, they did a press conference in New York that the Luigi Mangione was indicted officially, and not that it was a surprise, but the top of this peak essentially came when the CEO was shot. So I was like, okay, maybe this kind of concludes a little bit of that because now you got trials and you still got all the stuff, but at least you get some of the main kind of headlines out of the way. But then I was also looking at this chart going, that's 3 solid down weeks. I mean, going from $623 all the way down to 480-ish where we were at yesterday, 477. We're also on a weekly 200. So decent spot for UNH to get a bounce. The The problem is now one of those stocks that have taken a little bit of a beating. Let's see where January is. We still might be up for January. Let's see. Almost essentially flat. Let's see. January 2nd, somewhere in these candles. Let's see. So yeah, we're actually down on the year. So if you invested and bought UNH the first trading day of January and you waited a full year, you're losing money on that position still. You looked real good for a minute. So this one does have the effect where you might still be a little too early to be just buying dips on some of these beat up companies because I think pressure will continue. But then at that point, if I'm getting filled at 440, that's also another really good support. It is UNH. I like the company. They're strong. Financials are good. So the lower it goes, the happier I am. But you're getting good premium down at a 440 zone. I think it was like a 20% chance to get filled. Um, yeah, no, absolutely. But interesting place for a little bit of a longer term bounce, even dead cat bounce on some kind of a swing. Just I was assuming I was like three of those down. I don't know, but so I'm in there for the put sale. We got Lunar from Fitz. YouTube. You guys are pretty quiet today. What's happening? This is my volume indicators YouTube. If there's not a lot of comments or messages, I'm like, no, it's gonna be a light volume day today. If you guys are going crazy, I'm like, whew, volume is picking up. We got Lunar. This is the weekly chart still. On that weekly chart, you're about a 50% retracement though. Lunar, decent looking S curve. You're back above the 20. All those moving averages look good. You got out of some decent consolidation that essentially lasted you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 days. So decent move. A little bit of resistance on this one as well. Somewhere up at $14.13. Um, this would be one of the retail stocks that the retailers are kind of pushing, and you might have some decent success with that one. You didn't really ever come back to retest a 1619, so in a little bit of a longer term view, 1619 might be a decent target for you. Lucian says, I wonder if the CEO position will struggle with finding a replacement given the circumstances. Well, I think Governor Hochul, I'm pretty sure, from New York, she was trying to create she put it out yesterday. Was it yesterday? She put out, it was yesterday, 2 days ago, that she's like, yeah, we're going to create a hotline for CEOs to call in if they feel like threatened or something. So while I do see the value of kind of protecting everybody, um, a whole hotline, you got to have somebody manning the phones. Who is going to sit there the whole time and just be like, okay, I got you. Here's my direct cell. So I don't even know how that works, but that's a pretty, considering how many CEOs have been shot in the last, I don't know, 70 years. I can't even imagine what the number would be, but I can't imagine it's high. I don't remember the last time a CEO, besides like a plane crash that was accidentally done by the Clintons. I just got canceled on YouTube. I just got canceled. That's it. All right. Well, we try tomorrow. We got SWBI. I'm joking, by the way, everybody. Just calm down. Joking. SWBI. We're going right from CEO being shot to Smith and Wesson. You can't make this up sometimes. You just can't. Looks like we've been in some long consolidation. You did start breaking a little bit of a downtrend. Nope, still in it, kind of. Depends on where you want to draw this one. Want to come in a little tighter, then technically you broke it. But high wave candle, interesting spot. It is obviously down a heck of a lot. Here's another one that, believe it or not, the gun companies, they actually do better when you have a Democrat coming in. And that's just a lot of it is mindset. So obviously Trump is a little bit more pro Second Amendment, which makes Like the idea is that guns are more readily available, but what happens is once you have somebody that would be a little bit more anti-Second Amendment or anti-gun, let's say, um, then you have people that are like, are the guns going to be banned? And then they run out and they buy their guns. So it's kind of a inverse effect. Other than that, big gap down on earnings, so they missed on this one, and you haven't really broken out of that candle yet. So I think if you want to take this one, if you want to take it here, you have some good risk reward. You're throwing your stop probably about $10.40. Otherwise, the real spot, just to not get caught up in some chop or get in too early. But I think if you start breaking $11.43 with that volume, now you're looking for more of a gap fill or at least pushing to some of those moving averages. Yeah, to have the this quick stock up. We'll see. GIS. General Mills. Yeah, so they had earnings today. I didn't get a chance to see what they were. Nice beat. 14.99%. 1.91 extra on the revenue side of things, gap down. I have no idea what their conference call is saying. I have no idea what their guidance is. But there is it was decent earnings. You have a pretty good double bottom. They have to be absolutely saying something really, really rough on this one. You are into a little bit of support. This is a retest gap. Earnings were good. So do I really want to short it? No. If it starts dropping past 62.78, it might be worth a shot. These guys don't tend to move as much, but you do have the 2024 end of year effect on this one. There is not a lot of sexiness with General Mills. The Captain Crunch guy, he's got a good stash though. He does. I think he's General Mills. But besides that, unless you're really cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, this one you're not really crushing it in 2024. Again, it's not the Palantirs, it's not the Teslas of the world. So we'll see what happens on this one. But I think probably more applied pressure till the end of the year. I think you get more of a potential turnaround story in January for day trade wise. Again, not usually big candles, but you are coming into a decent looking support. So we'll see if that support can hold on it. Let's see. Tesla. I don't think we got a chance to look at Tesla yet. We got about a minute left. Tesla was going a little crazy after hours yesterday. There was some drops and some pops, and it was going nuts. Uh, see if we get bought up. See if we get bought up at open. I do have a little bit of support somewhere around 457.94. It's an inside day. Yesterday we did pop here. You got a little more risk reward to 474.68. To the short side of things, I think now that this level can break down and you might see a little bit more sell off into the 441, but best opportunity to go short somewhere around 475.17. And keep in mind, it's still Tesla at the end of the day, so be careful. But everybody at YouTube land, that is the opening morning bell. Make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe button if you've not done so already. If you've done it, do it again. I don't care. It's the end of the year. Who cares? Who cares at this point? Otherwise, you guys are awesome. And I'll catch you guys later. Later, guys.